Welcome back to the Open Wheel Offline League Season 5, here for Round 6 for the Grand-Prix of Sebring. First time we've been to Sebring since Season 1. It was the second ever race that we went to, as we are going to go through the starting grid. In the last row by himself will be David Malukas. He did come in and will do essentially what we'll call a pit lane start, which is give up your track position to be able to pit. He was at the back of the field, so it doesn't really matter anyways. Then as we move up to row 13, we have Brendan Hubbard, no time, disappointing qualifying result, and then Devlin DeFrancesco to his inside. Row 12, Tinkle McStinkle, who is the other car that will be starting from the pit lane with Dawa Tenzin to his inside. Then as we move up to row 11, Nico Hulkenberg, going to be on the outside. Team is reportedly struggling a little bit financially, so we're going to have to see if they can really make up some money with some good results. And then Glover Lore will be on the inside starting 21st. Row 10, Miles Rowe in a new livery sponsored by Momo this weekend. And then Francesco Draconi, one of your rookie of the season contenders, hasn't really gone too well the last few races, hoping to return back to good results here. Row 9, Mahavir Raghunathan will be on the outside and then Stingray Rob on the inside. One of his better qualifying efforts of the season. As row 8, starting 16th, I believe this is like 3 times in a row and 4th time this season, will be the 76 of Ethan Martz. And to his inside, starting 15th, will be the number 18 of Robbie Lohr. Then row 7, Lawless Allen going to be starting on the outside, one of his best qualifying efforts. And then Dorian Pin going to be on the inside in a little bit of a surprise Q1 elimination that you don't see often from a Swindlers of the Immortals car. Row 6 going to be 2 Banshees of Little Miami cars. Lindsey Brewer, who knocked Dorian Pin out, will be starting 12th. And then Alessio Deletta in 11th, who's got some good momentum. And then these two also have good momentum. Ryan Priest starting to get some good results in, going to be starting from 10th. Then Benjamin Peterson coming off a good result the last few races, and he will be starting in 10th. Or sorry, 9th. Row 4 will be 2 Swindlers of the Immortals cars that just missed the Fast 6. Louis Foster going to be starting on the outside, and then Shane Van Gisbergen has gotten pole on every single road course so far and has won 2 out of 3, but he's going to be starting from 7th, didn't get the pole. As in row 3, Guy Gagné going to be on the outside, and then Justin Allgaier, the best of the Swindlers, qualifying in 5th once again. He's also the highest rookie. Row 2 on the outside, another Viking racing car on the outside. It's going to be Nolan Siegel. Then on the inside, Marcus Armstrong, who has not qualified worse than 3rd this season. And then row 1, Connor Zilic going to be on the front row. That outside lane at the start is going to be all Viking racing. Going to have to see if they work together at the start. But on the inside, second ever pole for Chet Jordan, first road course pole. He only has one pole to his name, and that was at Auto Club Season 3, and it came to be a win. So we're going to have to see if he can win from pole today. It was pretty narrow in qualifying, so going to be highly competitive. So as we mentioned, Sebring, first time we've been here since Season 1, the second ever race. Track length, 3.74 miles, one of the longer tracks that we've been to. 25 laps for about 94 miles. Sim time, May 10th. And then driver's standing, Shane Van Gisbergen with back-to-back wins, first time that's happened since Season 2, has pulled out to an 11-point lead with 2 of his teammates right behind him. So Swindlers of the Immortals in the top 3. So no surprise that they're leading the team standings well away from Viking Racing. But Viking Racing going to be highly competitive as well. So getting ready to go green. Let's take a quick look at your weather. You do see that 2 cars are in pit lane. That is Malukas and McStinkle. 2 p.m., 4 mile per hour wind speeds, 84 degrees, and track temp of 135. That's one of the highest track temps that we've ever seen. So pretty hot. Um, let's take a look. I don't know why that's not sliding. Interesting. There we go. Saying Zilich is in first, that's not true. But let's take a look at the tires that they are going to be starting on. Very important. Jet Jordan going to be on the mediums from pole. Zilich will be on the outside, also on the mediums, and a more aggressive tire strategy at Interlagos. But it worked out. First podium of the season. Armstrong going to be the first car on the hards, and then Nolan Siegel will be on the soft, so a split second row. As we go back, Allgaier softs, Gagne mediums, Van Gisbergen softs, Foster hards, uh, Peterson will be on the mediums, Priest will be on the softs, Deletta on the softs, and Brewer on the mediums. That is your first 6 rows. So very evenly divided, it seems. For some reason, David Malukas is showing with a black flag. Not sure why that is. Okay. If he comes into the pits at the start, that's not my problem. So Sebring, a lot of fast track space here. Even though it doesn't look like there's a bunch of straights, there are, if you look at the track map, a lot of those curvy sections can be taken flat out right after turn 1. Turn 1 is going to be really interesting. You have a lot of space to work with on entry, but it tightens on exit. And you have this long straightaway that is going to provide good passing and drafting. But that final turn, there's so much room to maneuver. Gonna see a lot of dive bombs, and you might see a little bit of cars coming together. Here we go. Chet Jordan on pole. Pace car pulls off. And we are green. The inside line already spanning out. Chet Jordan going to be clear going into turn 1. Here comes Marcus Armstrong. He's going to be on a worse tire here at the start, so he's not going to be able to hang on. The top 4 all stay as is through the rest of the field. A little bit of shuffling. Dorian Pin has made up a good few spots. She was one of the first cars that it seemed to pop out of line. Nolan Siegel chasing down Marcus Armstrong for 3rd here. A little bit of a late move, but it should be enough with the better tires, and yes, it will be. Marcus Armstrong falls down to 4th as Nolan Siegel onto the podium spots, but a lot of racing left to do, and he's going to have to nurture those tires as long as he can. Armstrong now in between Siegel and Allgaier. Zilich has dropped about 7 tenths to Chet Jordan. They're going to be on even tires, so we expect them to come in on the same time. Mediums are usually the safe option. Chet Jordan looking to be safe and trying to cruise ahead with this one. But Zilich going to have a little bit of a draft here. It's not going to be close enough to really do anything. But Siegel might be taking a look at his teammate here. Very aggressive at the start of Brazil, but not going to be able to get a move done. Van Gisbergen looks to be inside of Gagne. Can't get there. So he will be down in 7th as Connor Zilich all over the back of Chet Jordan now, and he's going to have a run on the outside. Siegel going to be right in the middle, but there's just not enough room to get that done. But Viking Racing looking very aggressive at the start here. Siegel chasing down teammate Connor Zilich as Justin Allgaier might be taking a peek at Marcus Armstrong as we go down into the hairpin. Not quite able to get there. Right now, everyone just settling into a groove. The 9 not leaving the 24's rear view mirrors. As here comes Connor Zilich. Gonna be looking around the outside here. And he may be able to get the move done. He's gonna be on the inside going into turn 1. Look at this. It's a good side-by-side battle. And Zilich is gonna get it done. So a swap for the lead early on here. Zilich looking for his first win this season. First win in over a season, possibly. I know I'm not doing much commentating, but hold on. Jet Jordan gonna be trying to take a peek around the outside, but can't quite get there. Jet Jordan, will he be bold going into turn 1? Can't quite get there. But look at this, Marcus Armstrong under attack from Justin Allgaier. Allgaier gonna move into 4th. And Van Gisbergen got Gagne for 6th. Francesco Draconi, first car to go into the pits under green flag conditions. As Van Gisbergen takes a look up the inside, can't quite get there. So Allgaier is kind of pulled away from Armstrong back here, but Van Gisbergen all over the back of the 33 on the hards, trying to make them work. We haven't really seen them be able to work. As Gagne gonna take a look up the inside of Van Gisbergen, striking back here, but the one gonna try and cling on. Hanging around the outside, but can't quite stay there. He is going to fall back. Chet Jordan remains about half a second back. And Nolan Siegel 2 seconds behind. Then you go a little farther back, and Allgaier now being chased by Armstrong. Gonna have to wonder how long these soft tires gonna hold up. As Armstrong gonna pull to the inside. Is Justin Allgaier gonna pull into pit lane? So Allgaier, one of the first cars to come into the pits. Fraconi was the first. He's a little bit behind the field right now. Allgaier, the first of your leaders to come in. Chet Jordan gonna be chasing down Connor Zilich going down the straightaway, but just didn't get a good exit on the turn. As Nolan Siegel is gonna hit pit lane here with Shane Van Gisbergen, so a little early, gonna need to make about 20 laps. That's gonna be kinda hard to pull off. Armstrong and Gagne chase each other down. So gonna have to see where these guys come out in terms of Justin Allgaier, who's coming around the final turn. You can see on the track map, Siegel 6.7 second pit stop, Van Gisbergen 6.6. And here comes Justin Allgaier down the front stretch. Siegel's gonna be well out ahead, but Allgaier's gonna jump Van Gisbergen. Chet Jordan continues to follow Connor Zilich. Gagne staying with Armstrong. Then Ryan Preece leading back here. Louis Foster dropped a few spots at the start. Wasn't a very good start for him. Pin had a pretty good start. Started back in 13th, now up to 7th. So that's a gain of 6. Probably going to be a close fight going down the straightaway. Robbie Lord joining in at the back. Preece on the softs. Robbie only one top 10 on the season. Has been very consistent though. Besides last race, that one didn't go too well as Louis Foster up the inside of his teammate, looking for 7th. As back here, Armstrong trying to defend off Gagne and is able to do so. Pin and Foster side by side, and Pin's gonna stay ahead. Lawless Allen and Alessio Deletta enter pit road. Deletta lost a few spots at the start. Gagne looking around the outside here, nearly able to get there, but just not able to. Armstrong really going long on the, and right as I say that, he comes into the pits. So we're going to have to see where he comes out, along with Van Gisbergen, Allgaier, and Siegel, who have pitted already. Siegel is starting to catch a little bit of traffic as Pin goes around Ryan Preece to take what is fifth now, and Robbie Lohr getting aggressive right up here. Have not talked much about him this season. Right now having a good day. So Armstrong did make it a little longer than these guys as Allgaier got passed by Van Gisbergen, and Armstrong going to come out on the medium, so he's going to try and go to the end. Allgaier is on the hards, I believe. And then Van Gisbergen is on the medium, so he's trying to get to the end. So is Siegel. As Connor Zilic has really started to check out from Chet Jordan, 4-second lead now. As Siegel now trying to cut his way through the field. And Van Gisbergen and Allgaier battle in the middle of traffic, and this is going to help the guys that haven't pitted yet. So Armstrong did come out behind them, kind of to be expected. They had clean track, he did not. Ryan Preece side by side with Robbie Lohr going down the backstretch. That 18 looks like it has come alive. He is running in 6th now. And Foster's going to get by Preece as Preece comes into pit lane. Peterson, 4th. He stayed out. He's gained a good amount of spots. So we're going to have to see as Nico Hulkenberg is off track and spinning and is going to make contact with Justin Allgaier here, and he's currently stuck on top of him. Then this is unfortunate for Allgaier. Preece is off track, and that is going to be a yellow. Hulkenberg going to get going, but Allgaier had to tow. Preece also went off track. How did this happen? So Siegel's going around and tries to block the 19. Is just going to spin 14. Just unfortunately going to get ran over in that. And the 14 has to tow. That's just bad luck. Allgaier has had a lot of bad luck this season. Ryan Preece once again going to have to do off-roading to try to stay ahead of it. We are under yellow flag conditions here for the first time at Sebring. First car that has pit is the number 19 of Nolan Siegel, running back in 16th. So we might see him shuffle to the lead, assuming all the guys in front pit, which I assume they'll have to. They may stay out to try to jump everything, but this is the danger of staying out later. So, yeah, this is also, as Hulkenberg did actually have to tow, couldn't make it back around. But Connor Zilic and Jet Jordan may be in a little bit of trouble here. The Nolan Seagold now the leader of the cars who've pit, followed by Van Gisbergen, Armstrong, Draconi, and Allen. And Glebler, Priest, and Valletta have also pit, so a small minority. So these guys are still probably going to land in the top 10. And I assume they're fast and going to get by, but it's going to be interesting. As Justin Allgaier has despawned, so that means he is out of the race. That's going to be another back of the pack result for him. Been a very up and down season. Has had finished second at Interlagos, now going to have a 27th. He also had a third at Motegi and then followed that with a 27th at the Bend. Unfortunately today, not going to be his fault. So the leader is actually going to decide to stay out here, and I assume they're probably going to try and pull a gap on the field. But some cars back here, Tenzin, McStinkle, as Draconi does not think he's going to get to the end, neither is Globler or Deletta. They did come in a little bit sooner. They're going to bail. Going to shorten the yellow by 1 lap. Oh shoot, I forgot to make the restart single. Well, I guess it's going to be a rare double file restart on my mistake. Is what it is. So it's going to be a rare double file restart on my mistake. But green flag is back out. 14 laps to go. Chad Jordan going to be close with Connor Zilich, but Zilich going to have the better line going into turn one. Jordan has to defend from Guy Gagné, though, as Benjamin Peterson going to sweep around the outside and get a position off of Guy Gagné. Van Gisbergen got a good few spots at the start. He's the first Corvette pit. Actually, Lawless Allen is the first Corvette pit, and he is in the lead of the cars that have came in already. Chet Jordan going to try and look around the outside of Connor Zilich. Just not able to get there. Here comes Benjamin Peterson. Tried taking a look, couldn't quite get there. Gonna see how this goes with Flawless Allen out here, but he is on the soft, so I do not think he's gonna be able to make it to the end. Unless he does something magical. That explains how he was able to get by all of the leaders at the start. Chet Jordan gonna be under attack from Benjamin Peterson, who is all over the back of him. At 29, looks aggressive, but here comes a number 90 of Guy Gagné. Not quite able to get there. About halfway in the race. This is where the guys on the mediums tried to get to. Louis Foster does not have any more in him, and he's going to bail. As I just saw a car go flying in the back. There is a car upside down, and that is... I have no idea who that is. That is David Malukas. Unfortunate. Upside down. He has had bad luck to start this season, and it gets even worse. Who is he battling here? Miles Rowe. Trying to come to pit lane is going to hook him and send him flying. That is just bad luck. Miles Rowe, not a good move there. Go on board with 0-4 of David Malukas. Yeah, just gets completely hooked. That is a wild ride for sure for the 0-4. And that lead that the leaders had is gone again. As Peterson did get by Chet Jordan. When did this happen? I did not see this happen. Was I paying attention or not? No, Peterson had a run going into turn one. Yeah, no wonder I wasn't paying attention. I saw a flying car in the background. Peterson gonna take second place. This is a very good run for the 29 so far. Sits 13th in points. We are immediately back under yellow. I am just going to check this time to make sure that it's restarting single. There we go. Not making the same mistake twice. So Zilich, Peterson, Jordan, Gagne, and Pin are your top five. All have not pit. And we're going to have to see what they do when we come around this time. We're going to be restarting with, I believe, 9 to go. So if they don't pit here, that's kind of a odd mistake because you're just going to cycle to the back. Yeah, you'll have some speed to cut through some cars, but you'd rather do that on the restart. Unless they think for whatever reason they can get to the end, but probably not with the fuel situation. It's probably going to negate that. As expected, Connor Zilich, Benjamin Peterson, Chet Jordan, Guy Gagne, Dorian Pin, basically just everyone that has not pit is coming in now, and Van Gisbergen is going to take the lead. As a couple cars that did come in earlier are going to have to pit again. Marcus Armstrong and Nolan Siegel pit again. So a couple cars stay out. Van Gisbergen has been on his tires about as long as Armstrong and Siegel, but they just don't think they'll be able to make it to the end. They're going to be restarting 17th and 20th. The three cars out of the race, Malukas, Hulkenberg, and Allgaier. So Allen and McStinkle are on softs. So they might be struggling. Everyone that pit is on the mediums except for a couple guys back here. Glubler, Armstrong, and Tenzin are on the softs. So Allen is going to probably struggle to get to the end. McStinkle might be able to with when he came in. I don't know if he came in the hubbub of the flying. No, he came in the yellow before that. Speaking of which, I should shorten this yellow. My race control has not been the greatest this race. So 10 laps to go. Going to be coming to 9. So we're going to have 9 laps to sort this out. Chet Jordan lost a spot on pit road. Gagne was able to get by, so he's fallen back a little bit. But he's still in the top 10. So it doesn't look like it's going to be all that bad. Dorian Pin lost a few spots. Lindsey Brewer and Mahavir Raghunathan has jumped her. Raghunathan might be your biggest mover, I think, at this point. Either that or Ethan Martz. I think it'd probably be Martz. No, it'd be McStinkle. I believe 24th to 4th, plus 20. We're going to have to see what those soft tires do. This would be a dream result for the 53 if they're able to pull it off. Hasn't finished inside the top 20 through any of the first 5 races. Maybe today is the day when it finally goes well for Eventide Racing, even after Miles Rowe just basically tried to kill someone. I almost said assassinate, but that's not a good word right now. As green flag is back out, Shane Van Gisbergen gonna lead us back to the green, and he got a great start over Lawless Allen. Allen's got teammate Ryan Priest behind, who's on the mediums. As Zilich got by Ethan Martz immediately, he's trying to cut his way towards the front. Gonna be chasing down Foster here. Not quite able to get there, as Mart's gonna be passed by Peterson, who is very aggressive so far in this race, but it has paid off for him. So they're going to go side by side down the straightaway. Zilich may make a move on Foster down here, not quite able to. Robbie with a big leap on Chet Jordan. Chet Jordan just going backwards in this race as he's trying to hang on to 10th, as it looks like he'll be able to hang on. Everyone kind of behind McStinkle, but Shane Van Gisbergen, could it be 3 wins in a row? Up to a 1-second lead. He's going to have to make those tires get to the end. 2 guys on his strategy weren't able to make it work. Nobody has ever won 3 straight races in the Open Wheel Offline League. Could today be the day where that changes? Going bold where others haven't. Speaking of that, Siegel and Armstrong have not moved forward, but Zilich is moving forward. He's going to go up 2 spots here. Bold moves on Foster and McStinkle, and he's going to be up to 4th. He's not out of it yet. 8 laps to go, and he is still fighting. Chet Jordan in the swarm back here. Not quite able to make any moves happen. Lawless Allen hanging on to 2nd on those soft tires. Ryan Priest running in 3rd. Looking for a good result. Hasn't really came this season, as he is going to be drafting his teammate. Gonna peek to the outside, not able to get there. 3-second lead for Van Gisbergen. He is checking out once again, as Gagne and Jordan battle for 9th. Jordan not able to get there. Lawless Allen, you can tell, is really struggling with how much he's slowing down in some of these turns. So Ryan Priest and Connor Zilich really got to get by soon if they want to have a chance. Priest all over the back of Lawless Allen, coming down the back straightaway, but Connor Zilich looks like he's going to be the one to make a move here. But Ryan Priest is able to cut to the inside. Back there, Foster and McStinkle battle, and here comes Ryan Priest, and he's going to take 2nd. He's going to go around his teammate. Zilich going to hang around on the outside, or I guess inside, but now it's going to be the outside. It's back there, Gagne and Peterson are side by side. Zilich going to be on the better tires, and he's going to make it work. Goes for 2. This is a bold move. Is it going to work? He's going to be well onto the marbles here. This is incredible driving from the number 9, and he is going to pull it off. But the 64 could outbrake him into the hairpin, as it's going to pay off for Connor Zilich, as Tinkle McStinkle is going to get around Lawless Allen here, as he's going to lose a few spots. This is so far an incredible drive for the 53. Hanging on to the soft tires well. Gagne did get by Peterson, so the number 90 is up to 8th. Nolan Siegel finally starting to make some moves. He's up to 15th. So 6.3 second lead for Van Gisbergen. Can Zilich chase him down, or is it too late? A lot of racing left to go. 53 going to be under attack from Louis Foster here, as Ethan Martz works on teammate Lawless Allen. All 3 Team Eggs cars in the top 10. Foster not quite able to get there, as the 76 now under attack from the 90 of Guy Gagne. Chet Jordan goes up the inside of Benjamin Peterson. as Allen not going to be able to stay ahead of Guy Gagné, who's going to get through. He's going to be moving up a good amount of spots as now they're really starting to stack up behind this 92. Zilich has gained a couple tenths, but he's going to need to gain more. And right now, Ryan Preece hanging on to third, looking at his first podium this season. Foster not quite able to get to the 53. This race has been a scramble with strategy, but we still got a good amount of laps to go to sort this out. There's also the chance that some of the guys out here don't make it to the end, like the 92, 53, and most interestingly, it sure is the number 1 of Shane Van Gisbergen. The guys that pit around the same time as him, they stayed out, or sorry, they pit under yellow. He stayed out, and his lead is shrinking just a little bit, but again, not shrinking enough as the number 90 tries taking a look at Guy Gagné, as Lawless Allen gonna have to pull off now, not able to pull off a good result. As up here, the 53 trying to hang on. What a defense. Eventide Racing, only one top 10 on the season, a 7th for Miles Rowe at Michigan. Meanwhile, Siegel and Armstrong really starting to cut their way through the field. Peterson and Jordan now battle, as Ethan Mart's going to plant himself in the middle of the track. Robbie Lohr running in 10th. Chet Jordan going to be on the long way around, and he's going to hang on to 8th here. McStinkle trying to hold off Louis Foster. Zilich has cut it down to 5.5 seconds, but he's going to need to gain about over a second a lap if he wants to have a chance, or hope that the number 1 can't make it and pulls off. As a 53, slow on acceleration, is that going to be what does him in? 10 on the inside, the number 90 looks like he's going to try and follow, and the 53 might lose 2 spots in one turn here. He's going to have to run off the quarter. As Marcus Armstrong going to enter pit lane, and that is going to be devastating for his day. Went on the soft tires, and I guess they just didn't work. He was cutting his way through the field, but that is going to be a poor result. But what does that say about the 53, and what does that say about the number 1? Gonna have to find out. Four to go, more like 3.5 at this point. As back here, Lindsey Brewer trying to battle Robbie Lohr for 10th. But Robbie's going to have to run off the turn, and here comes Nolan Siegel. Contact between the 47 and the 19 in a very high-speed corner of the track. That could have went a lot worse, as Zilich has gained about... He's getting close. 4 seconds is the gap now at number 1. Starting to look fairly vulnerable. He is gaining over a second a lap. As Chet Jordan now trying to carry the torch for his team, as Marcus Armstrong looks like the best he's going to finish is about 23rd. As back here, this is the battle for 11th. As and up here, Gagné trying to sweep around the outside of Foster, and he's going to pull it off. He's going to go up to 4th. Martz and Jordan get by the 53. So McStinkle nearly falling out of the top 10 now. Siegel got 11th, so he's still moving forward. A lot of the Viking racing cars moving forward. .7 for Van Gisbergen. Catching is one thing, but passing is another. I just don't know if there's going to be enough time for the number 9. Chet Jordan all over the back of Ethan Martz, looking for 6th place. McStinkle trying to cling on to a top 10 here, trying to nurse those soft tires home. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. He also has a hungry pack of cars behind him. .7 seconds is the lead with 2 to go. I don't think Zilich is going to have enough. Up here, Foster's going to hang on to Martz as Jordan going to get around Ethan Martz, I should say. On the wrong car, as the 53 has just fallen out of the top 10. All 3 guys right behind him got through. 4 cars now. Lindsey Brewer got by. Peterson trying to get by Robbie Lohr as Robbie's going to shoot out wide and now has to battle Lindsey Brewer. He's going to hang on to his position, looking at his first top 10 since Michigan. Chet Jordan now up into 6th. .8. I don't think there's anything the 9 can do now besides hope something happens to the number 1. Nolan Siegel has driven up to 8th. Pitted twice on the day. Not ideal. Still getting it done. Very risky with pit stops the last few races. Hasn't gone horribly wrong, but a lot of positions missed out on. As white flag for Shane Van Gisbergen. Zilich is in the background, but is there anything he can do? 2.3 seconds is the lead. Preece looking at his first podium of the season. Back here, Martz under attack from Nolan Siegel. And Siegel's just going to dive around the outside and get that pulled off. So he's up to 7th. .8 seconds. Zilich is closing in, but again, not enough time. He's going to need to hope that the 1 makes a mistake here. Or does the very rare pull in on the last lap, which I have seen the AI do before this season actually at Motegi. Justin Allgaier threw away a 4th. 1.4 seconds, but number 9 is closing in, but it is just too late. He would, instead of 1.4, he would have needed to be .4 coming onto the straightaway and get the slipstream, but it ain't gonna be there. Shane Van Gisbergen will be the first driver to win 3 races in a row in the Open Wheel Offline League as he wins at Sebring. Connor Zilich comes in 2nd. Ryan Preece gonna come home 3rd. And rounding out your top 5 will be Guy Gagné and Louis Foster. These drivers having good results inside the top 10 here. But Shane Van Gisbergen, what a season it has been so far. Looking to make it 3 championships, 2 in a row. couple guys are okay. It was saying that cars were going off track. Don't know what that was about. Uh, that number one looks like it is out of fuel. One more lap, and I think Connor Zilic would have gotten Van Gisbergen. I think there's a good amount of cars that might be limping around as he didn't even make it back to the pits. Let's take a look at your final results on the new UI from iRacing. Shane Van Gisbergen 1.3 seconds over Connor Zilic. One more lap and Zilic would have gotten him. Whether Van Gisbergen ran out of fuel, well, he would have ran out of fuel. We know that. So definitely Zilic would have gotten him with one more lap. Ryan Preece, first podium of the season, going to come home third. Guy Gagne, another top five. He's been pretty quick. Just a couple inconsistent results that have been holding him back. But that number 90 is a contender. Louis Foster going to come home fifth once again. Chet Jordan sixth. So still only one top five on the season for him, but every race has been above 11th. Nolan Siegel going to come home seventh. Ethan Martz, best result of the season, in eighth. Benjamin Peterson will take ninth, and then Robbie Lohr will tie his best of the season in 10th. Through the rest of the field, Lindsey Brewer in 11th, Dorian Pinn in 12th, Tinkle McStinkle, by far his best result of the season, going to come home 13th, Devlin DeFrancesco 14th, Brendan Hubbard only able to make it up to 15th, Raghunathan 16th, 17th Stingray Robb, 18th will be his teammate Glubler. Not as good of a result for Alessio Deletta, going to be in 19th, Dawa Tenzin 20th, Draconi 21st, Miles Road 22nd, 23rd, Marcus Armstrong. Disappointing result for him. And then Lawless Allen tried hanging on for as long as he could, just didn't have enough. He's going to finish in 24th. And then your three DNFs, David Malukas, Nico Hulkenberg, and Justin Allgaier, as the number one continues to back up. Ryan Preece has murdered a cone. Um, Up next, this Saturday, not Friday, Saturday, will be the first day of Indy 300 qualifying. 4 hours of nonstop cars going in circles. It's going to be a great time. Right now we have 30 cars entered, so first time we've seen one-offs, 3 one-offs so far. May have up to 33, who knows. But it is going to be fun. Sunday will be day 2 with even more qualifying, as the Indy 300 will be next Wednesday, and it will be very fun. So that is it for the Sebring Grand Prix. I'll see you next time for